sailing through the calm, cool waters of the Pacific Ocean. You smell the fresh air and the salt in the air. All of a sudden, you're hit with the smell of rot and garbage. You look around at the water, and it's a dark, murky brown with trash floating in it. This is what Captain Charles Moore encountered on a sailing trip from California to Hawaii. He unknowingly discovered the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. After hearing the story, I became curious about it. I asked a few questions of, what is it? How is it formed? What's its effect on the oceans? And how does this apply to me? I bet many of you are asking the same question right now. Well, we'll start with how it's formed. The massive currents in the Pacific Ocean churn constantly. In the middle of these massive currents are calm spots with no waves or no current, called lulls. This is where all the trash is eventually collected. According to the NOAA Marine Debris Program, on February 7th, the trash isn't visible from space, like a glob in the ocean. It's mainly small particles of plastic. Now, when I first imagined the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, I thought it would be just heaps of trash in the middle of the ocean. This isn't quite true. Most of the trash is below the surface. The stuff that is just below the surface is tiny little particles of plastic and garbage. The more heavier stuff eventually sinks to the bottom. Now that we know a little more on what it is, let's figure out how it's formed. Those currents I previously talked about, which there is 4 of, are the North Pacific, the California, the North Equatorial, and the Kuroshiro currents. According to NOAA, accessed on September 30th, 80% of the trash is from land-based sources of pollution, while the other 20% is from shipping boats and oil rigs. That 80% is mostly from people just throwing their trash into the ocean or runoff from major cities from storm drains back into the ocean. That other 20% from boats mainly consists of fishing nets, and we'll dive into the problem of fishing nets a little later. According to Edwin Scheel, researcher for the American Meteorological Society, most of the plastic trash gets broken down into smaller pieces in a process called photodegeneration. What that basically is, these plastics circle the ocean for such a long time, the sun begins a chemical reaction within the plastic. It doesn't dissolve it, it just makes it into tinier pieces. This causes a huge impact on the marine life later on. Now that we kind of know what it is, how it's formed, let's see how it's really impacted on the oceans. Many animals will unknowingly swim into the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, or they're even attracted to the smell of garbage. This can cause some major problems. One of the biggest problems for animals is consuming of the garbage. Take, for example, the Hawaiian green sea turtle. Its favorite food is jellyfish. And if you've ever seen a plastic bag just floating around in the water, it suspiciously looks like a jellyfish. Same goes for the turtles. The turtles will see this plastic bag and then try to consume it. Most of them, once it's eaten the plastic bag, can't do anything with it for nutrients or even pass it out of their system. So these plastic bags just get lodged into the turtle's stomach or digestive tract, which makes them either violently ill or even kills them. According to Gianna Andrews, professor of geology and human health at Montana State University, the dissolved plastics have been found to collect toxins that don't dissolve in water, such as DDT and mercury. The major problem with these plastics sucking up all these toxins is that marine life and fish look at these tiny pieces of plastic and be like, hey, that looks like a good meal. It's colorful and it's easy to eat. Well, when they consume these tiny pieces of plastic, those toxins get into their system. It makes the marine life and fish very sick or even kills them. Or the toxins just get absorbed into the body, and that results in even worse problems. Now, the second major problem for the marine life in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is with those previous fishing nets. When fishing nets are just thrown into the ocean or left behind by fishermen, one of the major problems is a phenomenon called ghost fishing. It's these nets just floating around in the middle of the ocean. And then marine life, anything from photoplankton, sharks, even the giant blue whale get caught in these fishing nets. This can either completely capture them in the middle of the ocean, making them struggle and struggle until they finally wear out or die. Or in the case of whales, they just get caught on the whales and slow them down so much that they get exhausted and again, eventually get sick or die. Now, when I was reading about the impact of the Pacific, I kind of thought to myself, what's this affect me? I'm just a kid in Ohio. I'm not in California or Japan. I don't rely on the Pacific Ocean. Well, this problem is a lot bigger than I originally thought of. Also, according to Gianna Andrews, accessed on September 30th, toxins that sea life eat eventually make its way back up the food chain to humans. These toxins in humans can lead to cancers, birth defects, immune system problems, and developmental issues. Now, many of us enjoy seafood. I know I do. And the Pacific Ocean is one of the main sources for seafood on planet Earth, and for many people. So when you go to Red Lobster, you may be unknowingly be consuming some mercury or highly dangerous toxins that can cause serious diseases in people. According to Rolf Henderson, assistant professor in the School of Sustainable Engineering, it is nearly impossible to determine the contamination effects of plastics on humans due to constant contact with plastics. Not only with the toxins and plastics in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch affect us, but every day-to-day plastics, from our water bottles, pencils, everything. And almost nearly everybody on planet Earth has constant contact with plastics. We may not even know the repercussions of these toxins or plastics for many, many years to come. In conclusion, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a man-made structure helped on by the forces of nature. It mainly contains plastics and garbage that are toxic not only to marine life, but to humans through the food chain. Many people will consider sea monsters to be fake, a myth, a legend. But there is one, and it's made out of plastic.